Deeper on this story, Republican Congressman Darrell Issa of California is the chairman of the House Government Oversight Committee. Congressman, thanks very much for joining us. Lots of unanswered questions. I know your committee is investigating other committees in Congress as well. First of all, do you believe there were White House officials beyond the Secret Service, beyond the military, involved in this prostitution scandal?
Well, if I share with Senator Grassley the legitimate question that the senator asked, which is, were there any? And a denial by this administration is not good enough. They want an actual accounting of individuals. And I think that's only fair, particularly when you consider that the lack of judgment, Drew did it very well. It's not about a crime. This was not a crime in Colombia. It is about the poor judgment, and can we continue to have anybody this close to the president who has such poor judgment?
Well, do you have any evidence yet, you or Senator Grassley or anyone else, that White House officials may have been involved?
I think what Senator Grassley is seeing is this pattern of some of the most responsible doing irresponsible things. We know that White House advanced people were down there. They were going to clubs, too. They were drinking. We don't know whether or not they made such poor judgments as to have an unknown foreign national back in their hotel room or anything of the sort. The important thing, though, Wolf, is this is about the Secret Service and other professionals cleaning up what was clearly a gap in a loss of judgment, but a gap in security that today didn't affect the president, but could affect a president, a vice president, or a cabinet member in the future. And I think it also embarrassed the American people by Americans doing something overseas that, even where it was legal, was viewed as irresponsible.
Senator Joe Lieberman, the chairman of the Senate Homeland Security and Government Oversight Committee, he says his committee's been getting calls from whistleblowers saying that this has been a problem even before this incident. Prostitutes and U.S. officials in Colombia. Do you have any evidence to back that up?
Well, we're the counterpart to Senator Lieberman's committee, and we, too, have been hearing that everything from the wheels up, rings off attitude to some of the reports that go back a number of years about behavior. I think the important thing, again, though, Wolf, is this is clearly out there, both the House and the Senate, not with a lot of open hearings to ridicule those who have already been disgraced, but with those still in responsible positions, we need to know that they apply a fix. And in this case, the fix is going to be more widespread, obviously, because of the numbers we're seeing, than anyone would have guessed.
Any evidence that any of the women, the 20 or 22 women who were apparently involved in this, the escorts or the prostitutes, had any connections with drug cartels or foreign intelligence organizations, anything along those lines?
Not at this time, Wolf. These were the questions we asked the Secret Service director, in addition to verifying that all these women were over 18 and thus no U.S. law would have been broken. So we asked those questions. They're getting us the answers. But let's understand, if somebody's an agent of a foreign government, that can be the hardest thing to find because if we go back to Matahari, you can, in fact, have people in this profession or in this sort of activity also be agents of a foreign government. It's not our #1 suspicion, but it was the #1 risk these people took by this reckless behavior.
Congressman, you're also investigating the very separate General Services Administration scandal involving a bunch of officials who were partying, shall we say, in Las Vegas to the expense of nearly $1 million in taxpayer money. It's one thing to be stupid and irresponsible. It's another thing to be criminally charged, potentially, with misconduct. Is there any evidence you're collecting that GSA officials were criminally responsible for any activity?
Yes, Wolf. The Inspector General, Brian Miller, has a referral underway, and a number of the areas include misuse of GSA credit cards and allegations of bribery. This related to the contractors that they had a relationship with and used them on a no-bid basis. And no bid is an important word in government because the GSA is the agency most responsible to make sure that you do have competitive bids, that you simply don't give your wife's cousin a big contract without it being the low bid. And that's exactly what we believe happened in this case. But at GSA, we believe it is more widespread, the tip of the iceberg, if you will.
Now, that sounds like almost like bribery, if you will. That would be a crime.
We believe that the charges could include bribery and that could be a referral coming very shortly.
Define very shortly?
In a matter of days, if it hasn't already happened, the actual indictment process is one that we don't directly participate in, but the Inspector General does refer criminal charges at the conclusion of an investigation. We believe he's made a case for a number of crimes that can be included.
Is that why that GSA official took the fifth, refused to testify before Congress?
It certainly could include it. The questions we had for him would not have caused him to take the fifth, but the questions he might have been afraid of being asked as to his own criminal misconduct certainly would be justification for protecting his Fifth Amendment rights, which is what we think he did. But he's not the only one, and we believe that it's going to be much more widespread. And as we continue looking over the shoulder and working with inspector generals throughout government, we think we're going to find a lot of conferences just like this, a lot of poor use of taxpayers' money, and in some cases, criminal activities.
Congressman Darrell Issa is the chairman of the